Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today I'll be reviewing the AVANCUS Apex Power. So 3 pros that I have with the AVANCUS Apex Power is number 1, I think if you're somebody that wants a shoe for training in the gym and you like minimalist feeling shoes, however you often wish you had a little bit more structure to the upper and the boot of your shoes, I think you'll like this model and it will resonate with you. This model reminds me of a blend of like the Adidas The Total shoe, which does have a slightly more structured boot to it. And it reminds you of like a traditional barefoot shoe where you have a lot of flexibility through the sole. So it blends these 2 elements really well, and I do appreciate the increased boot support. Now, will that resonate with everybody? I don't think so, but if that is something you're after in the gym, especially with the minimalist shoe, I think you will resonate with the Apex Power. The second pro that I have with this shoe is the overall grip of the outsole. So this outsole is super grippy, and honestly, it's one of the grippier minimalist shoes I have trained in to date regarding lifting and whatnot. So whether you're sumo deadlifting, conventional pulling, training on turf, wooden platforms, etc., I don't think you're gonna have grip issues with this model. Plus you have lateral sidewalls and medial sidewalls here for additional grip support if you do put a lot of stress into the lateral part of the shoe, for example. So if you are concerned with traction in your outsole tread, I think the Apex Power will resonate really well with your needs. And then the third pro that I have with the shoe is that I like that you could take out the insole in this model and get even closer to the ground. The overall stack height of this shoe is around 6 millimeters, so it is very comparable to a Vivo Barefoot Primus Lite 3. So if you want a shoe that gives you a lot of ground feel, you could pop out the insole, and you shouldn't break down the shoe super quick doing so. I have actually trained more often without the insole in the shoe than with it in, so I like that about this shoe. And you get a good level of width here with the upper volume as well if you take out that insole, so that's another perk too. But now let's talk about a couple of cons that I have with the AVANCUS Apex Power. So my first con with the Apex Power is that if you're wanting a shoe for training that also transcends the gym and you can wear for daily wear, I don't think this is gonna be your best bet. So with this model, it has a more sporty look to it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily my go-to for daily wear, especially if I am wanting to dress up a shoe, but then also go train in that shoe. Plus with this model, with its outsole tread, I don't think you'll want to wear it on a daily wear basis because you will break this down faster, just like with any shoe if you put more mileage and more volume into the sole of the shoe. So I think if you want the shoe to last, you'll want to limit their use for gym wear. However, if you do want a shoe that transcends the gym, the AVANCUS Apex Power may not be your best bet. The second con that I have with the shoe is that the tongue is a little bit low profile and it can dig into the top of the foot at times. So when you're breaking this shoe in, I would suggest wearing socks that'll at least give you some coverage here on the top of your foot. That way you'll prevent any form of rub. I don't think it's gonna be that bad for most lifters and athletes. However, it's definitely worth noting because I could see this mesh digging into certain foot anatomies. So just keep in mind that when you're breaking the shoe in, you'll want to wear socks because it will dig at times. But overall though, there aren't a lot of knocks against this shoe regarding performance. It's been a pretty strong performer thus far, but that being said, let's talk about the shoe's performance. So in the context of the performance of the Apex Power, I'll discuss how the shoe performs for lifting and cross training and more versatile training. I'm not going to discuss the performance for short runs because I have not ran in this model, nor am I going to discuss the performance for daily wear because I don't want to use the shoe for daily wear. So when it comes to lifting, there are 3 things that I really like about this shoe. Number 1 is the outsole tread. This is honestly, again, one of the grippier shoes I have trained in. So if you are a sumo deadlifter, for example, and you want a nice flat shoe that grips the floor really well, I think this is going to be one of your better bets. Also, this outsole grips a lot of different surfaces as well. So whether you train on wooden platforms or gym floors, or if you want these shoes for comp floors, which are often carpet, this shoe should work really well for your needs. The second thing that I like about this shoe is that you get a lot of flexibility with the sole, and with the insole out of this model, you get super close to the ground. So if you are somebody that wants a lot of articulation with your shoes for lifting and training, the shoe should deliver for your overall needs. And again, you have a stack height that sits around 6 millimeters with the shoe, which gets you pretty dang close to the ground. The third reason why I like this model for training is I like the width through the forefoot here, and I like that you get a little bit more boot structure. So the blend of these 2 elements give you a little bit more ankle support and then a nice wide base to splay those toes and grip the floor with. Now this isn't gonna be as blocky towards the end of the toe box like a Vivo Barefoot, so it's not gonna come out as square. It does have a slightly more athletic fit, but I do think the width of this shoe should be plenty fine for most lifters. In the context of cross training and versatile training, the shoe has done a surprisingly good job. Now, the shoe isn't necessarily designed for that. It's more designed for lifting and strength athletes, but I think if you are somebody who wants to blend in some plyometrics and multi-directional work, agility work, etc. with your lifting, this model should deliver. The upper is secure enough to keep you locked down, and with that outsole tread, it does a really good job with multi-directional work. So I think if you do want a shoe for a little bit of everything in the context of lifting and then blending versatile style training sessions into your workouts on a weekly basis, this model should meet your needs pretty dang well. And I like elements like this TPU wrapper on the toe box for giving you additional support and security, and you have a little bit more structure back there. So again, you do feel a little bit more locked down in the context of athletic and more explosive style training. So when it comes to the price of the AVANCUS Apex Power, you can expect to pay $95 USD. Now, compared to other shoes on the market, especially models designed for lifting, I think that price point is pretty fair for what this model offers. And I think if you're buying the shoe solely for gym use, you should get a nice long runway out of this model. Now, obviously we need more data points because the shoe is so new. So we need more athletes and lifters testing them at higher volumes to really get a good grasp on the durability of the shoe. Thus far, I haven't had any issues yet. So for $95 USD, this model seems like it does a pretty good job for its price point. Also, if you do want to save a little bit of money, you can use TF2 at checkout. I think that should save you a little bit, but obviously don't feel like you need to. But $95 for the shoe, I think, is pretty on point for what it offers. All right, so now let's answer the question, who should buy the AVANCUS Apex Power? So I think first, if you're a strength athlete or lifter and you want a minimalist shoe that gives you a good level of traction, this is a great option to explore. You have a nice level of width. The outsole, I think, is curated for strength athletes with the medial and lateral sidewalls here. So overall, it's a good shoe for lifting specific needs. Second, I think if you're somebody who liked the total and you like the structure of that shoe, but you do wish it was a little bit more minimalist, I think the AVANCUS Apex Power will really resonate with your overall asks from a shoe standpoint in the gym. Now, who shouldn't buy the AVANCUS Apex Power? First, I think if you're somebody who wants a shoe for a little bit of everything, and that means also short runs and daily wear, this model may not be your best bet. I don't think it's going to be the shoe that can kind of transcend outside of lifting and versatile training into daily wear and whatnot. I mean, obviously you can wear them for daily wear and you could dress them up per your taste, but this is not necessarily a shoe that shouts like, oh, more casual wear in the context of daily usage. The second person is that I think if you are somebody who might even find Vivo Barefoot toe boxes a little snug, you might want to steer clear of this shoe just because with the taper up here, you might find them a little bit snug. Now, I think this is going to be a very niche foot anatomy that finds this, but if you are somebody that has a very square forefoot and you find models like Vivo Barefoot to be even too snug, then you might want to consider that before investing in this shoe. So when it comes to the sizing and fit of the Apex Power, I think most folks should be safe going true to size in this model. The length runs true and the width is plenty wide for at least for my foot anatomy. I have like a medium to neutral width foot to slightly wider foot, and I have plenty of room in this model. And so I think most foot anatomies will resonate with this shoe's fit. But again, if you have notably wide feet, especially at the end of your foot, you might want to consider that before investing in the shoe. But again, that's going to be a very small and niche population in my opinion. All right, so now let's cover the weight, heel toe drop, and insole in the AVANCUS Apex Power. For my size 10 model here, we have a weight of 11.75 ounces. The heel toe drop in this shoe is 0 millimeters, and this model has a thin foam removable insole. All right, now let's cover the construction of the Apex Power. Up here on the toe box, you have a TPU wrap that extends the entirety of the shoe's toe box, and the upper itself is a blend of like mesh and polyester materials, it seems like, with synthetic overlays. Back here towards the boot, you have a little bit more padding, and you also have an additional wrap here. Looking at the outsole of this model, you have a rigid, grippy outsole that also has lateral and medial wraps here on each side of the shoe, so you get a lot of traction if you're really pressing in to the sidewalls of your shoe. Looking at the midfoot construction, you have 5 core eyelets that go up in this model, and then the tongue itself is once again this thinner mesh tongue here that can dig at times into the foot, but again, wear longer socks and that should be plenty fine for you. You do have an additional loop here on the tongue for additional security, and this tongue does not have a gusset, but since it is flat, it sits pretty true on the foot throughout your training sessions. Once again, this model does have a removable insole, but that pretty much wraps up the gist of this model's construction. If you have additional questions, drop a comment down below. All right, guys, there's my review of the AVANCUS Apex Power. For a first pass, I thought this shoe did a pretty dang good job in the context of strength training, lifting, and some versatile training. If you have additional questions on this model, drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, y'all, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.